this is Renee Hahn with William Ravis Real Estate, bringing you the monthly real estate market update for the Naples area. I am thrilled to be able to bring you this information because even if you're not in the market for purchasing or buying a home at present, it is always a good idea to keep your thumb on how things are going, on the pulse of it, if you will. Imagine any other investment you have. I'm sure with some amount of frequency, you're checking on how that investment is performing. Well, isn't your home a significant investment in your portfolio? And so wouldn't it be good to keep a pulse on how things are going, whether you're living in the area now or considering it for the future? So I'm going to do things a little bit different with this report. I typically have a series of slides that I go through. I take a lot of time and prepare them, and they're all information regurgitated from the statistics that come out from Naples Area Board of Realtors. I'm going to switch it this time and see how it goes, and I'm going to work directly with my website on taking you in to show you some interactive graphs. So we'll take it from there and connect in through the website. Now I want to start to take you through some of the statistics so that we can see how the market's performing in Naples. My one disclaimer that I make with every video is just to remind you that this is always a month in arrears. So the data we're looking at is for the month of April. We do that because NABOR wants to make sure that we have a good 30 days to get everything updated in the system so that what we report to you is the most accurate and current information. So even though we're getting close to rounding out the end of May, which just blows my mind, I can't believe we're already that far into the year, we are going to be looking at data for April. As I mentioned, I'm going to do this report a little bit different than I have in the past, where I typically will work with some slides that I've prepared, and instead I've got you onto my webpage, yournaplesexpert.com, and this is the market update area. At the top of the page, we've always got some of the luxury reports here. I don't tend to go into those because they're a more niche area, but I'm always happy to talk about those if you'd like to give me a call. I've also got the link to what will be this video coming up, but we're going to spend our time on these graphs. On the left-hand side, it's for the Naples single-family homes. On the right, it's for condos. I don't tend to report on mobile homes, manufactured homes, so I focus on single-family homes as one category and condos as another. Let me make a couple overarching statements before we get into the data. Number one, no matter what we may be going through on any particular month or year, there are going to be ebbs and flows in the market, and I think everybody knows that. What is important to think about when it comes to Naples specific is we enjoy a somewhat insulated market, and that's important to keep in mind. It doesn't mean that the national trends don't affect us, because they do, but I would say the extremes are much smaller. We enjoy having a group of homeowners here who in very high proportions own their homes outright, so it gets rid of some of the volatility in the market. The reason I mention this at the onset is we're going to have ebbs and flows, as I said, and we're going through some of those ebbs, if you will, in the market with some of the broader national economic factors at play. But this continues to be a great place to not only own, but to invest in real estate for the long term. So with that, let's start by looking at new listings. Again, I like the graphs I have here because it gives me a side-by-side. So you can see that we've been in 2026 single-family homes, we were at 726 new listings for the month. Jumped up 2022, obviously inventory was higher, there was more coming on the market at any given time. But if you look in 2023, April, we are down 27.8% year over year. If you flip over to the right side with the condos, it's not to the same extent, but it's the same kind of pattern, at least between 2022 and 2023. So in both cases, the number of new listings is down from 2022. Which gives the overall market. If you look at the overall market, and that would include things like manufactured homes and whatnot, overall we were down reportedly 25%. And so for the month of April, we had 1,116 new listings in total. Now let's take a look at, that's new stuff coming on the market. What does the overall number of listings look like? And this is interesting because new listings went down, but inventory's up. What does that tell you? If you've got a puddle and the puddle's getting deeper, and it's not because of the new stuff coming on, because we already talked about that being 25%, what's happening? The water's not being absorbed as fast into the ground. Same thing. We have fewer new listings year over year, but the number of total listings is up. So for combined, it's up 64%. So we had overall inventory in the month of April in Naples at 2,868 listings. You can see here the condos, that's, if you look at year over year, up significantly. They're up 91.9% there, whereas single family homes are up 55.1%. But in either case, the good news is the new listings slowed down so that this problem didn't become more exacerbated, but things are slowing down on the sales front, and so you have more homes available. Now, that's not a bad thing, because if you'll remember, back when we had next to nothing available, buyers were stopping shopping because they couldn't find what they wanted. It's going to encourage buyers to be in the market when, one, they feel like they've got a chance at getting a home, and two, there's more to pick from. So not all of this is always a bad thing. Let's look at showing traffic, if you will. And I've been telling my sellers, I watch data on a daily basis. I am a data hound. It's sickening at times, but I try so hard to have such a strong grasp on the data so that I am an informed and educated agent to serve my clients well. And I saw this one coming. Tourism was down for the season. The traffic at RSW is down significantly. So there are fewer buyers on foot seeing property in person. It's just how it is right now. And beyond that, I would tell you that a higher proportion of the buyers are seeing property and not making offers. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of it is the national economics. So they may be coming out of a market that's behaving very differently than we are, and they may not be able to sell their home as easily if they're relocating. Mortgage rates may affect that. Investments may affect that, but the result of that is we have lighter traffic. Now, some of this you would expect because we've always enjoyed or had a little bit of a seasonal swing. The last 2 years didn't have that swing near as pronounced, and we stayed busy year round, but this summer is behaving a little bit more like a traditional Southwest Florida real estate summer. So you've got economics driving out this lower traffic of showings, and then you've got the seasonal variance that you would typically see anyways. Pending sales, if you've got fewer coming on, you've got traffic going down, isn't it safe to assume that that's going to translate into less contracts? If less people are shopping for homes and seeing homes, well, then there's less of a pool that's going to be making offers. So no surprise here. You've got April pending sales overall across segments went down 18%. We had in the month of April 1,123 closings. You can see here it was down more significantly in condos than in single family homes, but still collectively down year over year. And that's been coming down somewhat steadily since 2021, as you can see in these graphs. Total sales, so that's pending sales. And I misspoke earlier. I think I said closed sales. That's what went pending in the month of April. What went closing, again, very similar patterns. It's been declining since 2021. Total sales was down. We talked about pendings was down 18%. Total sales was down 24%. We had 947 closings during the month. So 1,123 pendings, 947 closings. And you can see that's a pretty even distribution in terms of the decline shared between single family homes on the left and condos on the right. All right, so we talked about the fact that the number of listings is up in total. New listings is down. You would assume when buyer traffic's down, so demand is down, and available properties is up, that you might see some decline in prices. But contrary to that, and this is why I say Naples can be somewhat insulated, if you look at these 4 graphs, the top one is just raw median sales price. The bottom one is price per square foot. Nabor always reports the median sales price. I like the bottom graph a little better, and here's why. The top graph essentially is showing you a median across all types of property, and the reality is that can be a function of mix. If you had more high-end sales, isn't that going to take your median up? But if you look at price per square foot, although you'll again have variation because a remodeled home may price different than an unremodeled home, so all of these have a mix factor in them. To me, I find the price per square foot a little bit more telling. So if you look at price per square foot, it would tell you that it's not far different from 2022 for single family homes, up a little bit in condos. And I think that's important to have, in addition to the context that the pricing for the total sale and a median factor is up in condos and single family homes. Again, it's all different ways to cut it. What I would summarize this to say is I think we have some price stability. There's a few things going on. Naples has always been highly segmented, so there are different parts of the market that are behaving very differently. I can have one listing that's going to take longer to sell, and there's nothing wrong with the listing. It's a beautiful home. And then I can put another one up that sells right away with multiple offers. It all has to do with the community it's in, the type of home it's in, whether there are buyers in the mix that are looking for something like that. And so my experience has been, right now with larger single family homes, particularly if they're renovated, if they've got pools, if they're in good schools, they're doing well. Golf communities continue to do well because if someone is outside a golf community wanting to join, there's still a fair 1 to 2 year wait on most of the golf clubs. So if a home could be sold with golf, it may be more attractive. Outside of those, you might see homes taking a little bit longer. And obviously, if things take longer, sometimes there's some give and take on pricing. Moving on to the percent compared of what you would pay versus the last price. Now, I wish that the tools allowed me to create a graph that showed you the sold price versus the original list price. Unfortunately, it doesn't. You would see this be a bigger gap because there are several homes that are going through price decreases. In fact, in the month of April, we had 1,128 price decreases take place on homes that were listed for sale. So this shows you that 2022, I mean, they were getting 100% of their ask price. You're now seeing negotiating room of about 2 to 3%. Again, it can be higher, it can be lower. But what this doesn't show you is that gap is actually even bigger if you look at the original list price, because there are a number of price decreases. So this is saying by the time you have it priced right and you attract a buyer, you're usually about 2 to 3% in negotiating room on average with you, and by median, if you will. Days on market, no surprise, we've already talked about this. That's been going up again, similarly in single family homes as in condos. The percentage would scare you when you see 343% and 420%, but let's think about the numbers are small. So I think Nabor reported that median days on market across the board was 53, and it was up I think 231%. So again, these are two sections of that market. It is taking longer to sell, but these are not ridiculous days on market. Now, there are plenty of examples that are well beyond this, and a few examples that are less than this. Months of supply, we talked about what's coming on. We talked about what's currently on the market. We like to think that it's a balanced market when it gets, you don't want these 1.1 months of of inventory on the market because that was just crazy. It was tough for buyers. It created bidding wars. As we get into the 4.4 and 3.2 months of supply, it's getting a little closer to healthier. But this is the one reason why I would say that our home prices are generally staying insulated. If we had all the other factors going on and the months of supply was going up to a crazy amount, we'd have a lot more price erosion. But the good news is there's good news for everyone, right? We talked about that with buyers. It could be a good time to buy. Despite interest rates, the other thing to keep in mind, if you're buying with a mortgage and you're going to wait a year, what's going to happen to pricing? Yeah, you might get a lower interest rate, but it might be on a higher priced home. So again, there's a little bit more to choose from, making it favorable for buyers and sellers. There's still demand for your homes. So again, talk to a informed and experienced agent because there are things to consider based on your neighborhood and how your neighborhood's performing and what time of the year and the type of home you're trying to sell. Be thoughtful about that. But it is still a vibrant and robust market. Volume closed sales, this is just, again, another way of showing you. We talked about the number of sales were down, but this is also the total volume of those sales are down. So all in all, I would summarize this to say it is still a great market in Naples. I would encourage you to, make decisions based on what's best for your personal scenario and get connected with somebody that's going to help you do that in a way that both protects your interest and your financial investment. So I hope this is helpful. Again, you can come out here anytime and see these. As you can see, interactive graphs. You can look at some of the other areas, Marco Island, Estero, Bonita, Fort Myers. My focus is predominantly on Naples. That's why I cover it. I do, for clients, occasionally expand into other areas. I do a fair amount in Estero, believe it or not. And then also lastly down here, if you click on this, it'll give you more data than you want in terms of all the data that NABOR, Naples Area Board of Realtors, reports on. And then of course, if you want a personalized market update for your community, you can always call me or fill out this form here. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a wonderful and safe Memorial Day weekend. I hope you all enjoy hopefully a longer weekend, unless you're in real estate, and we don't really have anything such thing as weekends. And for those that have served our country in the past, that we are honoring this weekend, thank you so much for your sacrifices and your contributions so that we all enjoy the freedoms and luxuries that we have. America's going through some bumps right now, but it's still a place I would pick time over time. And for those currently serving, as always, thank you so much for your dedication and honor to our country. We appreciate you. Have a fantastic day.